Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. My name's Leah Zickmund. If we haven't met before, I'm the executive director here at Hourglass. Thank you so much for joining us here in the library today. We're so grateful to the library for hosting us as the Ware Center is under construction, but also feels kind of perfect to be in the place where the magic happens. So you're joining on a very lively day in Lancaster, and we're really glad to have you. Anyone whose first time is at an Hourglass event? Wonderful. Thank you all so much for joining. Just some background and information about who we are. We are coming up on 30 years of work in the community. We offer nonpartisan information and solutions to the community about issues that are affecting all of Lancaster County. Our focus areas include the environment, land use and growth, city vitality, and public education. So those are some of our areas of focus. We're really interested in collaborating with the community and being able to speak to experts who can talk to us about things that basically we need to understand more and they can provide more clarity on. So since we're starting late, I'll keep it very brief. We're here to answer some questions today about what it takes to sustain a library system in this day and age, and what resources are being offered by our library systems that are maybe underutilized that people could use more information on. I often see this group and this audience as a think space of people who are really willing to elevate information that we're sharing and disseminate that through your networks. So if this is your first time at Hourglass, just so you're aware, you'll receive a video recording and resources next week on this forum, and you can pass that along to anyone that you think might be interested in Hourglass or even the topic that we're talking about today. We have 3, potentially 4 speakers joining us today, Lissa, John, and Theodore, and then also Shannon, who is finishing a story time. And if that isn't already enough of a testament to what librarians do, John here threw on a blazer after doing the, what is it called? The eye drop this morning. So they are here, there, and everywhere, and excited to inform you all today about what they're working on. So I will pass it off to you, Lissa, to start. And thank you all so much for being here. Oh, let me thank our forum sponsors as well, Rogers & Associates, the library for hosting us, and Shoemaker for our live streaming services. Okay, thanks.
When John told me he was doing eye drops, I thought, oh, he has an eye infection. I'm sorry. Then I realized. Good afternoon. As many of you know, my name is Lissa Holland, and I have the great privilege and honor of being the executive director of Lancaster Public Library. Many public libraries have evolved to be much more than checking in and checking out books. Today's public libraries are community centers. They are places where people can come and find many different services beyond borrowing materials. Lancaster Public Library is no exception. In fact, our building was designed so that we have more open space, which gives us the ability to more easily adapt spaces to meet the changing needs of this community. 2 of my great joys as executive director. First, my ability to be hands-on in shaping our continued growth, that this organization can continue to best serve our community and its changing needs. Our services go way beyond lending materials. I am proud to say that Lancaster Public Library provides a wealth of community-centric programming and services, many of which you will learn about today. And second, my great joy is having the opportunity working with the staff who believes in our mission. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you what the next slide says. Our mission is Lancaster Public Library inspires, empowers, and strengthens our community by connecting people with information, ideas, and enriching experiences. This staff is dedicated to our mission and upholds it by providing quality services to all people who walk through our doors. I am very passionate about Lancaster Public Library and in helping to create an outstanding library that meets the many needs of this community. I am so pleased that several of our staff members and I have the opportunity to show it off to you today. It is my pleasure to introduce John Heinley, our Director of Donor Relations.
Thank you, Lissa. Yeah, it's definitely our privilege to be able to host you today, and thank you for coming out. So, this is going to be a pretty rapid overview of Lancaster Public Library and a little bit about the rest of the libraries in the community. So first, we're celebrating our 250th anniversary as a country. Lancaster Public Library, through various names and specific locations, we are at 267 years and counting. So it is one of the oldest libraries in our country. We have been in this building for 3 years. In that photo, you see the building that, if you have been in this community for a while, would be familiar, and probably for anybody here, your whole life, up until 3 years ago, that was the library, 1 block over on Duke Street. So to situate Lancaster Public Library within the libraries in Lancaster County, libraries aren't set up the same throughout the country and throughout the state. And one of the complexities about Pennsylvania is that we have very localized government and ways of doing things. Within Lancaster County, we have 14 libraries with 16 different locations that are all independent entities and the library system of Lancaster County. Now, hopefully, if you are a library user, and I hope you are, you have a pretty seamless experience, because your card that you get, that is through the library system of Lancaster County, and it gives you access to any of the services at any of the libraries. And if you want a book from one library, you can have it sent to a different one, and then you could drop it off at a third one. Seamless experience, again, hopefully. But we are all independent entities. Of those, Manheim Township is the only one that is a municipal library, and the rest of them are nonprofit libraries. And then the library system, as I mentioned, they do the cards, they manage the catalog, they help us with IT, they do a lot of the work behind the summer reading program that then the staff at the individual libraries carries on. So an important behind-the-scenes entity, and they also have the bookmobile, if you're familiar with that. I also if you are a library staff member or a board member from any of the libraries or the system, could you just raise your hand? Because I know we have a bunch in here, just so we have various representations. So thank you for being here and all the work that you do as well. So most of the presentation will be about Lancaster Public Library specifically, but regardless of where you are in the community, you are welcome to come and use these services. It's not limited just to residents that live closest to the library. But Lancaster Public Library is assigned 14 municipalities within Lancaster County, and that makes up about 40% of the total population of our county. It covers in whole or in part 5 of the area school districts, and we have 2 locations. That's this branch here, downtown, and Mountville is the other branch that's a part of Lancaster Public Library. And just a few quick stats from 2025. Again, these are specific to those 2 branches. We had over 183,000 patron visits. Over 400,000 materials were circulated. And that circulation, not to mention all of the other services that people receive, but the circulation alone is worth over $12 million of free materials that our community has access to. And again, that is just looking at Lancaster Public Library, two branches. A little bit about funding. I think there are there's probably a lot of misconceptions. 2 of the misconceptions that people tend to have about funding. One is that our taxes are covering our libraries. Partially true, but Definitely not entirely true. And when I learned that there was a fundraising position at the library, I was already doing fundraising at a different organization. I was very excited because I didn't know that there were fundraisers at libraries, and I was excited to potentially work at a library without needing to get another degree. So if you were mistaken about that coming in here, you're in good company, I think. Here's sort of the general breakdown for this year. Only 36% of our revenue comes from government sources. And you can see there that's a mix of municipal resources, and that's from several of those 14 municipalities in our service area, state and county funding, and broken out there is ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act. And that was some of the grant money that came post-COVID to support different areas. So this is our last year of that funding, which means we are going to need to fundraise more starting next year because that part of the pie goes away. 64% is library generated in one way or another. So part of that is things like late fees and photocopies, and previously, well, when this budget was created, passport processing, and things like that, investment earnings. Our friends, the different branches of the library, the different libraries have friends of the library, and they do a lot of fundraising, so part of that comes from them. Our big book sale, I'll say more about that, coming up in June is a part of that. And then 40% is fundraised from the community. Many of you in this room, businesses, foundations, people who choose to give to the library. So as you can see, that is absolutely essential to Lancaster Public Library and the other libraries in the community continuing to survive. So thank you for your generosity. And just to touch on one of the other misconceptions, since I mentioned the various libraries, each of the libraries functions independently in its finances as well. So when you give to one library, you're giving to that specific library. Now again, that supports anyone who accesses resources there in the whole community, but we are distinct. We have our own boards, own fundraising, and like that book that you check out and you pick up at a different library and then it gets sent back to another one library owns that book. So just to give a sense of what's happening in the background. Now here's a part that I know from talking to a number of you, you were especially curious about. So we're sort of, this is officially getting rolled out now. This website is up, Vote Yes for Libraries. And this is a move, right now it's in the petition phase, to hopefully have on the ballot, a referendum in November 3rd, to have a dedicated library tax for all of the libraries and the library system throughout Lancaster County. The goal of this dedicated library tax is to provide stable, sufficient, and secure funding for public library services across the county, and proceeds of this tax can only be used to fund public library services in Lancaster County. So, we actually do, this is literally just this morning, we got the petition. So we have copies of this petition that anybody who is a resident of Lancaster County and is a registered voter and qualified voter as of today is able to sign the petition. So at the end, that'll be an action step that you can actually take, and we'll be thrilled to have you be literally the first signers of this petition. Through the end of August, we will be working on that petition. Volunteers will be needed to help get the petition out. So if you are at all interested, that website, you will find more information there. We're still building it out. We got the petition sooner than we expected, so we're scrambling to get all of the information available. We would love to have your support in signing, in donating to support that specifically, and also if you want to volunteer. And really, this would be transformative because you saw the pie chart. It will be transformative for the libraries in our community because if you follow the news, there's numerous ways that libraries' funding has been threatened and could continue to be threatened into the future. And this is a chance for us as a community to really say, in perpetuity, we are committing ourselves to supporting our libraries in a way that is sustainable and secure so that no one issue, no one person, politician, whoever it might be, could threaten that. So it is a chance for us as a community to rally and support something that we collectively believe in. And last thing I'll just say quickly is like, what might that support? Things that might support, and it'll vary depending on the library, but it might be things like greater outreach into the community to get to places where people who can't get to the library are. It probably would be expanded programming, extended hours. Like our location probably would open on Sundays, later into the evening, so that people with different work schedules can come. Eliminating late fees, having benefits for all library staff. Not all of the staff at all of the libraries have benefits or really adequate pay. More e-resources, more support for business entrepreneurs, things like that. So there's a lot of ways that this could really shape our community. And just to highlight quickly a few of our resources and partners, there's a lot more that could be said and more than what fits on this one list. The Brave Place is a room for children, youth, and young adults to access resources, numerous resources, point them in the direction of community resources for the various things that young people go through, and finding access to organizations that can help them with that. We have an autism resource center for individuals, families on the autism spectrum, other sensory disorders. Just this week, we launched a partnership with United Way 211 that we're really thrilled about. If you're familiar with that, 211 is a number that people can call to get access to all sorts of community resources. A 211 staff person now 3 days a week is here physically in Lancaster Public Library in the downtown branch. PA Career Link is here on a regular basis, Penn State Health, and the list goes on. Core Community Blueprint is a voter registration. So these are some of our social service partners. Now we're going to go a deeper dive on 3 specific programs. We don't have time to talk in depth about all of them, but we want to highlight 3 that we're especially excited about. And so next I will pass it over to Theodore Griffiths, who is our Manager of Adult Services, to talk about one of those.
All right. It's always hard to follow John up, but I figured I would grow the beard out, maybe leech some of his charisma. So thank you for having me today. So I am Theodore. I manage our adult services department here at the library. I've been with the library for about 4 years now, and I am a librarian, of course. During that time, I've had my hands in many different departments, which has given me the opportunity to get to know our patrons and their needs. My current role sees me overseeing adult programming of all kinds, including book clubs, even a cookbook club, occasionally with wine. Don't tell Lissa. Feel free to come join us. And lectures on topics from everything from gardening over to, Frank, I know you know, aviation. And of course, a lot of fun, relaxing art-based programs as well. I still engage with a lot of reference questions while I manage the day-to-day needs of our adult patrons, but I oversee a resource that you're probably more interested in today, and you probably know what that is. And that's the Business and Reference Center. So we provide patrons with access to numerous databases that allow patrons to see information on over 30 million businesses and executives, 220 million consumers, all kinds of profiles on industry trends worldwide, and tens of thousands of data variables related to consumer spending, to brand preferences, and even public health. So it really runs the gamut regardless of the business that you're in. So for instance, are you opening an athletic apparel store and you need to know if your clientele prefers Nike, Adidas, or those classic clean Reeboks? We can get you that data. Are you starting a cleaning service and you need a list of businesses within 5 miles of your main hub that close at 5 p.m. so you can serve them overnight? That's a real reference question. I didn't make that one up. We can get that information for you as well on places like insurance agencies, banks, and doctors' offices within that 5-mile radius. We also offer a constantly updated print collection of startup guides for both nonprofit and for-profit businesses, tons of business plans, some guides on tax and contracts, and even step-by-step guides on how to form LLCs and nonprofit organizations. Beyond those incredibly important data points and resources for market research and business plans and B2B connections, we also support local nonprofit organizations with Candid. Now, if you speak to me, they recently changed their name. I'll probably call it was called Foundation Directory. So if you've heard that title before, it's now Candid. And that's a database that provides fellow nonprofits with high quality data on 1.9 million nonprofit organizations in the US and 3 million annual grant transactions. And that ensures that our incredibly important partner organizations, new nonprofits, and even the library itself, can thrive and provide this community with the resources that they have come to really rely on us for. Though through those partnerships that we have with organizations like SCORE and Assets, I've trained countless individuals on these databases, and that helps me take on this very small role in the stories of local businesses like thrift stores, nail salons, employment services, and more recently, a letterpress museum. I have to say that group has been so enthusiastic that I've thought about finding another new hobby, which my wife will be thrilled about, but they've been great. These services not only bring a constant flow of extremely interesting and engaging patrons to my desk, which has always been my favorite part of the job, but they reinforced why I joined this profession in the first place, and that's to help where, when, and however I can. These resources would have been invaluable to me when I was running a bed and breakfast in Willow Street, and it brings me constant joy to see local business owners and nonprofits reaping the benefits from these services. Did I mention the most important part, though? These services are free. So part of, the funding and just the support from this community, many people in this room, these resources are free to your fellow community members, and they strengthen Lancaster County, and they create economic mobility, accessibility to important resources, and sometimes just plain fun. So to push this mission forward, we recently received a grant from the Rock Giving Circle, as you can see in that second point. And that ensures that our partner organizations like SCORE and Assets can provide BIPOC entrepreneurs with free meeting and event spaces, further emphasizing our focus to lift up each and every member of our community to greater heights. No matter who you are or where you come from, I want to make sure that you leave this building with new knowledge, skills, and ideas that will take your story to the next chapter. And with all of that said, I want to reintroduce Lissa Holland, a great friend and a great leader, back to the mic.
Am I going backwards? Yeah. We just wanted to give you a quick overview once again of the slides. Matthew Bouchon is our outreach specialist. As you can tell, I'm not him. He's on vacation. But I have the pleasure of talking about Lancaster Public Library's expanded outreach service, which has been a deep desire of mine for many, many years. Early in my career with Lancaster Public Library, I imagined a program that allows us to take the library to the community. There are many residents in our community that do not know about the library. Some of the most common reasons are they have never been introduced to the library, or they are afraid that they may not be welcomed for a host of different reasons, or they may not have transportation to get to one. It has been my hope that we could break down these barriers by meeting with these residents right in their own neighborhoods. I was so passionate about this that even in 2020, when I interviewed for this position, I talked about my dream. Well, it's taken a little while, but my wish has become a reality, and I must give credit where credit is due. These are words you've probably never heard together. Thank you, COVID-19. That is because Lancaster Public Library was awarded a generous grant through the ARPA funding from the City of Lancaster to be used following federal guidelines to increase programming. So really, my thanks goes to the city. We were able to use part of this grant to buy and brand a van from which we could work. And we were able to get enough funding to pay 2 years' salary for an outreach specialist. And so, in 2025, my dream of taking LPL to the people came to be. After spending the first quarter of last year creating new programs and making needed initial contacts, Lancaster Public Library's On the Go program was ready to meet the community. Even though there were no programs in the first months of 2025, Matthew completed more than 100 outreach stops serving over 5,000 residents. This year, in just the first 5 months, he has served over 2,200 residents with 49 programming. With summer upon us, his busy season is just beginning. On the Go enables Lancaster Public Library to connect with a wide range of audiences, including children, teens, families, English learning language learners, new mothers, seniors, underserved populations, and community organizations. This outreach program provides a pop-up library where community members can borrow and return materials, become a library card holder, attend programs including story times, literary activities, and educational presentations. Connect with the Wi-Fi through free public use of laptops, and find community resources. We arrange some of our programs, others we partner with another organization. By partnering with schools, municipalities, literacy organizations, hospitals, recreation departments, senior living centers, conventions, and nonprofit organizations, On the Go has expanded Lancaster Public Library's vitality and has strengthened our role as a community-centered resource. Parents' nights, school assemblies, various after-school programs, senior gatherings, street fairs, neighborhood parks, community festivals, and Penn Medicine Park are just some of the places you may find our On the Go van, which, if you came through the front door, is parked in front. So please take a look at it if you didn't look at it when you came in. And to create additional excitement around the On the Go program, we added a book bicycle. In other words, a human-powered bookmobile on 3 wheels. On the Go programming continues to grow through new and expanded partnerships and programming opportunities. The goal for this program is to strengthen community connections, improve access to information and enriching opportunities, as well as to ensure that Lancaster Public Library remains an active and viable resource for all members of this community. And last but not least, and I was afraid I may have to do her speech too, but luckily our early literacy librarian, better known as Miss Shannon, is here to discuss our world language programs.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon, and I'm the early literacy librarian here, and that means I specialize in programming and resources for ages 0 to 5 and their parents and caregivers. So for my entire 25-year career as a children's librarian, I have been passionate about serving immigrants and refugees, and we have really been working hard to serve immigrants and refugees in their home language here at the library. So as you know, the mandate of every public library is to serve every resident in the community. Now, while that's impossible in practice, it's something that every library is constantly striving to do. And of course, that includes our patrons who do not speak English as their first language. So we have had some amazing results, and here's what we have done so far. We began with ASL, American Sign Language Storytime, about 1.5 years ago, and this idea was actually sparked by a patron, a deaf mother who has been using almost all of our programming and resources, and we were really struggling with how to communicate in the best way with her. At the same time, we had an ASL interpreter approach us and say, hey, how about ASL story time? And we said, yes, please. And it has been incredibly successful. We try to do 3 series of 5 story times per year, and families come from all over the county, including York County, to come to ASL Storytime. There are so few organized activities for our deaf community, especially ones that are free, that it has been wildly successful. And in fact, most of our regulars who come to ASL Storytime have formed a text group so that they can meet up outside of Storytime, find out about other programs and resources, and it has just been really lovely. Now, something that we just started this winter and spring are 2 different types of programs for Spanish speakers. One are story times. We found a volunteer who is a native Spanish speaker, and she volunteered to do those story times for us, and she is amazing. So we had our first series of 4 this spring, hope to do another series this fall. They have been wildly successful with people coming from almost every Spanish-speaking country that you can think of. I moved here from Arizona, where 95% of the Spanish speakers are originally from Mexico, and that is not the case here. People are from every Central and South American country that you can think of, and that's been really fun for me. We also offer a Spanish language meetup and play group. This is an hour where we fill the children's programming room with toys, and families come just to socialize, play with their kids, and speak Spanish. Spanish only. This is not a program for people who want to learn Spanish to come and interact with people. This is for Spanish speakers to come and make connections. It was popular, but hopefully will become more popular. We staff, English speakers, were greeting people as they arrived and introducing them. And we are not native Spanish speakers, so we were doing that in English. And we got some feedback. Could we please be welcomed in Spanish as well? Well, luckily, a volunteer, a Spanish speaker, came in and said, I'd love to help the library, and she agreed to be our greeter and facilitator at these programs starting this summer. So we took that feedback from our Spanish-speaking families, and we're doing our best to meet those needs. Okay. We have just started Arabic story time, which was a thrill. It is led by a dad who has attended pajama story time with his family for about a year. He approached me and he said, "What about Arabic story time?" And I said, let's do it. And he and I worked very closely for about 5 months while he planned his first story time. And again, it was a wild success. The very first one had 21 people from 4 different countries who came with their families, and we had a great job, and our presenter did an amazing job. He was very nervous, but he did so well. Okay, let's see here. Oh, so looking back at that Spanish-speaking meetup and play group, a bunch of our other families got really jealous about that, families who spoke other languages, and they were like, what about us? What about us? Well, if we did one for every language, that would be impossible. So what we've created is a world language meetup and play group. Patrons who speak any language other than English can come, hopefully find other families who speak their same language, share tips for raising multilingual children, and meet each other and maybe share their culture or their food so that their families can grow up more multicultural. That was very successful as well. So those are the things that we have going on right now. However, some of you might have seen me sneak in a little bit late, and that's because I had a meeting with a Swahili speaker who said she's going to do Swahili story time starting in the winter. I feel like I was proposing to someone. I was like, she said yes, she said yes. So we will start doing Swahili story time in the winter, which is exciting because we will be serving what I'm calling the big three, and those are the three biggest language groups served by the school district of Lancaster outside of English. It's Spanish, Arabic, and Swahili. So we will be having programming for all of those groups. I would like to invite you to visit any of these language programs. Again, English speakers are welcome. Just know that it will be an immersive experience. If you do come to see one without a child, please let the presenter know that you are just there to watch. In the children's department, we're a little leery of people who show up to a program with no children. So just be like, hey, I saw a presentation. I would really like to learn more about this. Yeah, right. Who are you and why are you here? But anyway, we are going to have a Q&A panel after this. Please feel free to ask me any questions, or after this meeting is over. I love talking about these things, and I would like to tell you more. Thank you very much.
Okay, as usual, I'll come around with the microphone if anyone has a question. If you have a question that's specifically directed towards one of our panelists, it's always helpful if you just share that.
Theodore has just moved to the van. He'll be back. So if you have a business center question, we might hold that for a few minutes.
Okay, wonderful. Actually, John, this question is for you. I think you know what's coming. Would you be able to go into a little bit more detail about where things stand with the library referendum, what planning has been going into, how funds are being distributed, and I guess just kind of an overall status update of that?
Could I just confer with him for
I was going to say, and yes, and anyone who would like to answer the question, I would welcome it. Thank you.
One of the questions that we've been getting will the tax go up?
Yep.
That's all.
Right.
That's it.
So maybe I'll start by just reading. I didn't want to take too much time so that we got everybody's part in. I'll read the question so that you can hear what the question is. This is the question. Assuming this is what, if you sign the petition, you're just signing a petition saying, yes, I would like this to be on the ballot in November. It doesn't mean you have to vote yes for it, but you're saying, yeah, I support this democratic process of this being on the ballot. So the question is, shall the County of Lancaster establish a dedicated library tax to provide for the maintenance of and aid to public libraries in Lancaster County at the rate of 0.55 mils on the dollar on all taxable real estate within the County of Lancaster? And one of the questions that has been coming up as we've started to talk about this is this would not be a rate that would increase. It's 0.55. That's what we're voting on, and it wouldn't be a one that like some other taxes that are just going up and up and up. And that was set thinking through the budgets for those 14 libraries and the library system to really adequately cover costs and allow us to do really what the state of Pennsylvania mandates us to do as libraries in the community because of funding and trying to get enough funding. Really, there are areas that all the libraries in the county, we're not able to do everything that Pennsylvania says this is what your libraries should do. And statewide, the expectation would be that there would be more local funding supporting libraries so that we can do those things. So in terms of how it would be divided up, ultimately that will be something that the library system of Lancaster County, the board for the library system, which is put in, the county commissioners place those board members in those positions. That board ultimately will need to approve the formula that would be how the money is divided up. Now, there are existing formulas that divide up county funding that we currently receive, that county funding would be replaced and then well above and beyond. It would actually put money back into the county budget as a result. So, yeah, so that's one formula. How the state funding is distributed, that's a formula. So there are various formulas. Those are being discussed. Ideally, hopefully, the library directors or representatives from the libraries would be able to together come to an agreement on a formula that would work for everyone, and that there is no reason with the amount of revenue that would come from these taxes that wouldn't be far better for every single library in our community than what it is now. So finding that formula that would work for everybody, we're hoping that there can be an agreement among the directors, among the libraries, that would be presented to the board, that would be voted on, but that's still in process.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a question over here.
Okay, so like I think that I probably like have a question for you as well, John. I was trying to. I'm trying to like wonder if with the proposed tax, proposed primary tax that is proposed to be on the ballot. Like, I wonder if wonder if one of the programs would involve doing classes to be A plus plus to be A plus plus to be like to take a classes to to be like trained to be like to be done towards being A plus plus certified. And and I believe that would, and I believe that is probably my biggest question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Great question. So I'm going to take a stab at this, and then I might ask somebody with more programming role. So I think it would depend a little bit on the individual libraries, because, as I mentioned, each is an independent institution and maintains their own budget. So different libraries might choose to do different programming than the others, depending on the need of their immediate community. So is this, are you closest to this library here?
I live right by the highway on.
Yeah.
Right by the highway on.
Yeah. So,
on King.
Yeah. So really, some of our program team have heard that idea, And one of the ways, I mean, anybody in the community is welcome to suggest programs or books for that matter, or things that you would like to see in the library, and they may or may not happen, or they may or may not happen in the year or something like that, but that's a great suggestion. And I think in the end, more funding that would come through the referendum would allow each one of the libraries to really expand its program offerings for the community and respond to more needs and requests.
And that's something that is really important to me, that we represent everyone in this community. So again, I will reiterate to John's offer to let us know what may be important or needed. We have really expanded both our children's and teen programming and our adult programming because people have told us what they want, and we're not doing frivolous things just to say we're doing programming. We're trying to do programming and provide services that are really needed. Thus why we have partnered with 211 and Pennsylvania Career Links and all. So thank you.
Question, how many signatures do you need on the petitions, and do you need logistical support with that effort?
4,612. Did I get that right, Dale? It's 4,612. So our goal is really to hit for approximately double that, just
Actually,
because
over 10,000 was today's number.
because what that shows is that it's an overwhelming support, and then there's not a need to check. We don't want to end up with 4,613 because then you got to check every single name and make sure that, yeah. So, but that's the ultimate number. And yes, logistical support, we absolutely do need logistical support. And as the website that I had up earlier, vote yes for libraries with a number 4.org, that website, that will have more information added on ways to volunteer, ways to collect signatures. A lot of that will be just getting oriented to the petition process and then being present at a community event to give that opportunity to community members.
We have time for one more question. Did I see that you have one too? I'm going to go here first.
I'm going to stay on the tax theme, John. And those of us who live in the city, love the city, support your library, but we're, a lot of retirees who financially can afford to live here. But, we've had a school district budget debacle. We pay high property taxes. I would vote for a library tax, but I would encourage you to, I think you're really going to have to sell this first to get it on the ballot and then to go from there. And you're talking the entire Lancaster County and Lancaster City that this would go through. And if I heard you correctly, it would be part of the real estate tax?
Correct. Yeah, it would be property tax. It would be collected as part of the county property tax collection, but it would be a distinct, separate category. But that would be the process that would go through. And yes, it would be countywide, same amount for the whole county, and then that's where it would be distributed to all of those libraries and the library system to increase services in the whole county. Yeah, Dale, you want to say something about that?
I would just add that the reason it's a property tax is because state law only allows for a property tax. State law does not allow for the charging of services from the library. There are a lot of stipulations, but the one thing it does say is that you can have a dedicated property tax voted on by the residents of the municipality. It could be done at municipality level, but at the county level, it covers the system and everything else. So this is the legal way to go about doing it. If it said you could have a sales tax, then you could do a sales tax or whatever, but that's not an option. This is the option. There is no organization in the state that's actually directed to pay for libraries. The state does not. They provide aid. The county is not required to pay for libraries. Municipalities are not required to pay for libraries. It's all may, not shall, in the law. So this is the vehicle that is made available for libraries to properly fund themselves.
for the live stream and the recording, Dale gave a much more eloquent explanation than I'll give right now. But fundamentally, this is the option for raising funds because there are no other types of taxes that we could implement to provide funding for libraries, and also that there's no mandate that's given, so it really has to be opt-in for us as a community.
One more question. For world language story time, do you have the books that are in those languages, or are you translating books from English to the language?
Oh good, this does work. We have, in the children's department, we represent about, I don't know, close to 20 different languages. Now, depending on the language, it's easier or harder to find books in that language. We have found that Nepali, it's really hard to find books in Nepali, and that's very much a growing population here. But yes, every story time that we offer has a collection that is backing it up that can be checked out by patrons. What? Oh yeah, and we also have a database that provides the reading of a book in over 100 languages, which is really nice because none of us can afford collections in over 100 languages. And some of them are really fun, like British Sign Language, which is separate. So anyway, yes, so we have collections that back up every story time that we offer. Thanks for asking.
Do you want to say something about adults too?
So our adult collection is set up similarly. We have more than 20 at this point, but that's typically because I think at this point there are a lot more adult materials that are translated or written in other languages initially. So that collection is expansive. But we also have an online resource. It is called Transparent Language. And that offers access to lessons on over 120 different languages. So that is free with your library card as well. So definitely check that out if you're looking to learn other languages.
Okay. Sorry, let me make my way up front. Thank you to all of our presenters today. We appreciated learning from you. Just a couple of housekeeping things. So, like I said, this video will be available on YouTube next week. Please feel free to share it with people that weren't in the room that you think need to learn from this. If you're familiar with Hourglass programming, you'll know that we don't do a forum in July. So we will see you in August back in our usual space at the Ware Center. Just a couple of things that we'll be talking about this fall. If you're not a member, things to think about. We'll be talking about some reformed zoning policies across Lancaster County. We'll be talking about the impact of SOWE, which is an initiative of Tenfold. They'll be celebrating 10 years of work in our community. We'll be talking about the Sunnyside Environmental Center and updates to that. So lots of great programming to come this fall. If you are not yet an Hourglass member, I would love to have you join our community. And I will pass it to John for a little call to action and follow-up.
So we had the exceptional privilege of actually hosting the Hourglass that we presented, which is not normally how this works. So since you are here, we wanted to offer a couple ways that you can, if you have time, right after we're done here. Well, the first one is not right after. First one is in a couple weeks. Our big book sale is where you can buy used books. That's all organized by volunteers, volunteer-led. June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. More information on our website and socials. That is at F&M. It's a great way to support the library. You get used books, then you can donate used books back, and it's a wonderful, beautiful cycle. The referendum, we do have the petitions. Again, be some of the first people that get to sign it. So we have those up here. We do need, there's like a specific process, so see one of us and we'll have it and do that with you. Check out the website, become involved, and then in November, vote yes for libraries. Happy to answer more questions afterwards or at a future time. If you want one of us to give you a tour of the library, we'd be happy to show you even quickly through the space if you aren't familiar with it. Check out the on-the-go van, which is...
It was just moved again.
Still out in Ewell Plaza?
It is still out in Ewell Plaza, yeah.
And last and certainly not least, if you don't have a library card, stop by our Access Services circulation desk and get signed up so that you can use all of this to its fullest. Thank you.
So much. Have a great weekend.